Don Mazzella here again for Small Business Digest. We have a very unusual, to me, an unusual guest. Someone who's dealing in jewelry. The only thing I know about jewelry is I can never get the right piece for my wife. It's always got to be something different. But anyway, Morel's here. He's been in the business. His family's in the business, if I read it right, and he's doing some interesting things. I'm going
Correct.
to Morel Kotari. I hope I pronounced it as close to it. Morel, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Don, for having me. I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you. As I ask all my guests, tell us first about yourself personally, then about your company, and finally the all important website.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. So I was born and raised in New Jersey, not too far from where I'm right now. Our office is in the Diamond District. And I grew up not really knowing much about our industry, but I'm actually a third generation jeweler. My grandfather started in India in like the late 50s, and he was, India's diamond trade had just opened up back then, and he was buying rough diamonds and turning them into polished diamonds. Eventually, my father joined, and he started handling polished diamonds and selling those. This coincided with both the rise of the middle class in the United States and around the time India's economy had opened up. So my father and grandfather immigrated to the US in the late 1980s, and soon thereafter, I was born in 1989. And for years, my family has been in the industry. They eventually got into jewelry in the early 90s, and at one point, we were one of the largest suppliers of diamond fashion product in the United States. My father and my uncle worked with almost every major retailer you can think of from those times, including the now defunct Service Merchandise, Sears, Zales, Walmart, you name it, they were working with them. And all this time, I grew up in New Jersey thinking I'm never going to join the family business. And the way karma works is fast forward to 2011, I joined the family business. A important part of this story is 2007, the financial crisis. It was terrible for the entire United States, but it was also really bad on our business. Being a wholesaler in the US, a lot of our customers kind of disappeared, and the few remaining ones started going direct to India to work with manufacturers directly. So between, a actual recession and the fact that our existing customers no longer wanted to source locally, we were kind of squeezed out. And by the time I had joined, our business had kind of dissipated. My dad and uncle sent me to India for 18 months to train. So I learned, diamonds, I learned jewelry production, and I came back and there was no work. I'm pretty sure the first 6 months of my time here, I did many PowerPoints and set up the antivirus on our software, and that's the most productive I was at that point. The business really wasn't there. That wholesale business, as I mentioned, had disappeared, and we were bumping our heads against the wall trying to figure where do we take our company next. We had gone from being a 60-person office to, I think 8 people, 9 people at that point. Um, and sort of my dad is actually very smart, but also not very tech savvy. And yet he said, why don't you look online and see what we can do? He had collected all of these pieces over the past 20 years, samples, returns, stuff that people didn't necessarily like that were for retailers, unique one of a kind pieces. And so I started our e-com business. Our first customer was overstock.com. And I sent them an email. I didn't even have a company email at that point. I sent it from my personal email, and they were open, and we started working with them. And in my head, in my uncle's head, and my father's head, we never thought people would want to buy fine jewelry online. We thought people wanted to buy 50, 60, $70 items, of which we had, but most of our items were higher price point. 6 months in, we got our first $1,000 order, and my brain blew up. My uncle's mind was, we were like, who buys expensive things sight unseen on the internet? And at that point, we knew we had something. And so for the past, I want to say 7, 8 years, I've been solely focusing on e-commerce. And I personally find it fascinating. I was never a jewelry person, but the idea of taking an expensive piece of jewelry and turning it into this digital representation online and getting millions of eyes on it and someone in the middle of nowhere buying a $10,000 bracelet from us, that blows my mind that even today I am still in shock and humbled by that. And so really what I find fascinating is just the business and operational side of it, because this is not like any other category. We're not selling, giant water bottles like this for 15 bucks. We're selling high-end, expensive product, and the business has been growing. Our brand has been developing. I think the opportunities are endless once you figure out how to do this type of business. So really, that's sort of my journey in a nutshell, um, from how I started to where we're here. And I don't think my father and uncle would have ever thought 10 years ago we would have been an e-commerce only company at this point.
Hmm. Wow. And your website, before we go any further?
So the website is called House of Brilliance. It's spelled Haus. I came up with the name when the trademark for the first brand name I wanted was rejected, and I had 2 months to come up with a new name. So, kind of under the pressure, I came up with House of Brilliance. And then it hit me a year later that that actually made sense for us. We are your house of fine jewelry. Today, you can come in and buy an entry level price point, silver diamond item. But you can always come back to our home, your home, our house 6 months later to buy a bridal ring. 2 months, 2 years later, you might want to buy a anniversary present. You might have a milestone in your career and you want to gift yourself an item, both for women and men. So we are trying to be that house, your one-stop shop for everything fine jewelry related. And you mentioned earlier that you never know what to get your wife. The nice thing about House of Brilliance is we have almost anything you could ever want to gift your wife, from every price point, silhouette, material, you name it, we have it. So House of Brilliance is the brand name.
Hmm. Well, you're actually selling $1,000 pieces on the internet.
So we sell everything from $30 to our highest ticket item was a $50,000 bangle. And I will never forget, I think it was March 2022 that we sold that piece. And I was in shock. Just like I've mentioned earlier, someone bought this from one of our retail partners' websites, and it was a high ticket transaction. And I thought it was fraud. I thought it was going to be returned. The customer loved it. And that reinforced my belief that this is the business for us.
Can you show us a couple of examples of some?
Sure. So I selected items that also kind of represent different parts of our company. Give me 1 second. So here, my team was lovely enough to pull out a bunch of product for us. Hang on 1 second. Where's that one piece I really wanted to show you? Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to start with this piece. My father's business originally was tennis bracelets. He was one of the biggest vendors of tennis bracelets in the United States. And when we decided to start selling online, this was one of the first styles we created for e-com. And up until 2021, this was an Amazon bestseller. It was the number one diamond tennis bracelet. So what this represented for us was we are doing something right. People want our product. We know how to merchandise. Back when we started selling on Amazon, this is 1 carat of natural diamonds and sterling silver. Back then, we were retailing at $99, mainly because we didn't know what we were doing. It now retails for around 329. But this bracelet was like the signifies how we, took our ecom business to the next level. And it's a very important bracelet for me, but it was also a learning lesson. Once we got super successful on Amazon, a lot of manufacturers from India started to knock this bracelet off and sell it on Amazon for a third of the price. And we knew at that point we could not keep all our eggs in the Amazon basket, and it prompted us to start diversifying and looking at other retail partners and focusing on our own brand. So it's still a fantastic bracelet, great value for money. We've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of this unit. It's still a high ranking item on Amazon. I love this piece, but it also opened our next chapter into moving to higher price point items. So now I'll show you some more of the interesting stuff. So this year, a big trend has been moving away from minimalism and kind of going for big looks, especially layered looks. So this is a paperclip chain with a diamond bar here and a diamond bar here. It's both elegant but a big look, good price point. It's in gold, natural diamonds, and it represents the audience kind of moving away from the past decade of more like minimalist styles. So I think this is very on trend, very a very good piece. Then I want to show you two more things. So we were originally a diamond house. We never really dabbled in any other material. My dad's training, my grandfather's training has always been diamond. But color stones are very exciting because you add like a pop of color. Hopefully your audience can see this. And you just don't have white. You have all the colors when you get into color stones. So this is a tanzanite bracelet. I absolutely love tanzanite. It's a really beautiful color. And this bracelet is timeless. This is one of the few bracelets that we have that was manufactured in the United States. Really high quality, great manufacturing. And then, just one more color stone piece. Okay, so so color is now becoming 30 to 40% of our catalog. I think customers really love the value, and how it makes their outfits stand out in a sea of diamond product. This is a peridot bracelet in sterling silver. The nice part about gemstones is you can get a big look for a very reasonable price point. Something like this in diamond would be astronomical.
Hmm.
Uh, the next category I want to show you, so this is one of my favorite categories, and it just again proves to you how wild the world of e-commerce is. Brooches. No one thinks about brooches. I didn't even know what a brooch was until 4 or 5 years ago. Little butterfly pin here.
Hmm.
Brooches represent the smallest percentage of our catalog, and yet, as a percentage, I have sold more brooches than any other category. The problem is most stores can't stock stuff like this. A, they don't have vendors for it. B, they have trade-offs. They can either stock the things that most people want to buy, like a bracelet or, engagement ring, which means there's no shelf stock or capital to invest in what we call novelty fringe items like a brooch. 2 years ago, I sold 5 frog brooches and 3 fish brooches. And I was like, who in America is buying fish brooches? But that's the beauty. You just need to put it up, and there's someone there in the United States, and actually we ship overseas as well, someone in the world. You just need one set of eyes, and that's all it takes. And that was our sale. So, we have this little flower
Okay.
brooch here. We have a bumblebee
I'm going to
brooch.
enter
We have,
because of our
sure,
time. We're
yeah.
going to enter. No, no. I love the enthusiasm. I'm going to ask you the three questions, which I'm sure our audience. First one is, where do you get your customers from? Do you market your company? How do you market the company?
Okay, so that's a great question. We actually work with a lot of what we call retail partners. So you'll see our products on marketplaces like an Amazon and a First Dibs. We also work with major retailers like QVC, Kohl's. So our job is to give them the product, give them the service. They bring in the customers and sell our pieces for us. We love these partnerships. It's a win-win for both sides. From our brand, we actually dabble now in both Meta and Google advertising. We're leaning a lot into social, and we're leaning into the fact that we have a massive catalog. We also see a lot of organic traffic coming to our website because we have so many items. And there's a halo effect of seeing our brand on so many of our partners' websites. So we're growing our audience base in a multi-channel perspective because we are a multi-channel brand.
Hmm. Well, the second one question is, I order a piece. How do you get it
Mhm.
to me? Do you
So
use
we stock everything in house. Nothing is made to order. We live in an Amazon Prime world, so everyone expects stuff yesterday. So everything is stocked here. Your order comes in. Our systems will pick it up, whether it's coming from a retailer or directly to us. Most of our orders, 90% of our orders go out same day. We'll ship out typically with a 2-day label. So if you order today, you could theoretically get your order by Friday,
Is
Monday
it
latest.
is it
Um,
UPS? Is it so I order from your catalog. I mean, do you send it through the mail
hmm,
or do you use UPS?
yes, yes. We use FedEx 2-day. We use FedEx 2-day. We ship out thousands of packages every month directly from our site. Yeah, and you know our carriers are great. They get a lot of grief, but FedEx is really good at getting those items to our customers in 2 days or less.
Yes, but the question I have is stealing. How do I mean? For me, the question would be if I saw a house of diamonds on something, and I'd steal it. Okay, I mean, people tell me, and and other things that their biggest problem is that things get stolen. How do you make sure, you send out a $2,000 brooch, let's say. Um, I don't know, you're saying
So that's
you
actually a great question. Oh,
yes.
sorry. Yeah, no, it's a great question. To be honest with you, we always thought that was going to be an issue. We have less than a 0.001 like incident rate with our shipments. And I think the carriers are not like the worst at their job. They're actually pretty good. But we also have protocols in place. Anything high value immediately gets a signature required on the shipping label. We record any order over $500 so that we have proof. For very high value transactions, we actually work with UPS has a subdivision called Parcel Pro, which is for secured shipments. So we work with them to get those higher value shipments out. But I think the thing that has astonished me after 8 years of doing this is that as much as I think fraud is around at every corner, I think there's a lot of systems in place that have minimized these incident rates. And to be honest with you, I can't think of the last time we had something stolen or swapped or we've been cheated. And knock on wood for that. But by and large, I think people are good in the United States. I don't think they're trying to screw us over. And with the combination of good systems, we weed out a lot of the, fraudulent purchases or thieves right from the get-go.
Well, I'm going to ask you the other question, which is your own employees. I mean, um, uh, do you vet your employees? Do you do background checks? Because they're obviously dealing with a lot of stuff. How do you deal with that?
So again, very lucky. The core team, which is still my father, uncle, they have three people that have been with them for 25, 30 years. They're like family. So that is already the vetting I needed. The recent hires that we've had um, have also been great, but what we have internally are systems to mitigate even sort of any shrinkage internally in our office. We have security systems, camera systems. We have an inventory room that only certain people are allowed to access. Any inventory taken out is accounted, and when it's returned back before anyone leaves, it's also counted. So we also have systems internally to reduce the chance of any of that happening in our office. But I have to say, my team is fantastic. I am very lucky to have such great people to work with. And I think between the systems and the trust that we've established over the years, it's not been a problem.
Do you manufacture a lot of your stuff, or do you have it out for manufacturing?
So we have two ways of sourcing product. We manufacture in India. We have partner manufacturing facilities there. In the good old days, we actually had our own factory, but it was very impractical for my dad and uncle to like go there 6 months of the year. And then when the business anyways kind of disappeared, it didn't justify keeping a factory. So we have partner manufacturers there. And our industry is very small. So the nice thing is I have my father and uncle's network of established manufacturers. And then in the US, we work with local vendors who have finished product that want to move it through our e-commerce platform, which allows us to access more products than any other brand otherwise. So like the brooches come from two vendors specifically. They don't work with anyone else. They let us list the products online and they help us and support us with merchandising. Same thing for Colorstone. So it's allowed us to expand into products and categories that we otherwise were not capable of doing beforehand.
Oh, the other question, do you have any brothers or sisters in the business?
I have a sister and she is in the business. She has her own company and brand. And I think years ago we realized let's not work together, otherwise we're going to kill each other. So we help each other out. She has an amazing brand. She does high-end custom bridal work. We don't compete. And if anything, we actually work together. But we have a nice little division that makes sure that we don't, kill each other.
Well, the other question, um, do you have any cousins? I'm getting to the succession issue. Do you have a plan
Hmm.
for when your grandfather and father decide to get out of the business? Probably not. They'll have to
Yeah,
carry
well,
it
my
on.
grandfather's my grandfather is very retired and very happy not being involved. The succession plan is me. I have two cousins, my uncle's daughters. One of them has her own sustainable packaging company and she's doing amazing there. So I don't want her to even think about leaving that and joining us. And then the youngest one just graduated college. So, I want her to find her path first before, I don't want her to be pressured into joining. I think there's so many opportunities in this country. The succession plan is currently me. At this point, I'm leading most of the day to day. I handle all the operations, business development. I am involved in every facet of the business. My dad and uncle now generally are hands off. They handle more of the relationships and like manufacturing, but the succession plan is me, basically.
Well, we only have 2 minutes left. First want you to give us the website again, and
Okay.
then what would you like to leave our audience with?
Sure. Our website is House of Brilliance, HAUS for house. And honestly, audience, I love what I do. I love the day to day. I love the operations. I love, well, like I said before, selling expensive things online because it still blows my mind. And I want you to know that at House of Brilliance, our motto is that we have something for everyone. We are one of the few, if any, brands that carry this much merchandise. So I beseech you, next time you're in the market for jewelry, give us a shot, send us a message. I handle 30% of our customer service because I love interacting with our customers and I want them to know that we're here for you. So yeah, give us a chance, reach out to us. I'm happy to also do special pricing for any of your audience members, Don, and also happy to hook you up with something that'll make your wife happy as well.
What's your email?
My email is my first name, Monil at houseofbrilliance.com.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. But thank you for a very illuminating time together.
And thank you for having me on your show, Don. I really appreciate it again.